It's 8:36 right now. Borrowing and lending money between loved ones can get messy, and it can get messy fast. It can feel awkward, even risky, and sometimes it changes the relationship altogether.
So what should you do when a family or friend comes knocking at that door saying, hey, can I get a loan? This morning, Rodney Williams, a personal finance expert and co-founder of Solo Funds, breaking down the do's and don'ts of lending money to loved ones. This is a good topic. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Good morning.
So what would you say is the first rule when it comes to that ask, right? To lending money to your friends and family?
Well, the number one thing, lend what you can afford. That's the number one. You don't want to create a new problem for yourself. But I think it's super important for when you lend to friends and family and people that you care, to never overextend yourself. Don't create another financial headache. Giving money or lending money that you actually can't afford to lend. You have to prioritize yourself in this situation.
Yeah. And obviously you only lend to those who you trust, right? But how do you know that you can trust folks when it comes to money?
I mean, it's difficult, and my friends and family tend to have convenient amnesia when it comes to, the actual lending of the money. But trust is something that you got to stick with your family, your cousins, and members that are financially trustworthy, meaning they have a job, they continue to have a job, and they don't continue to ask and look for answers from you, but they tend to try to fix it themselves. But trust is very difficult, and convenient amnesia is not something I like to deal with.
Well, but there's folks who may come to you and ask, and they've never, and obviously you know they might be in a bind, right? Is there an expectation though when you lend money that, okay, I may not see this again, it may leave and never come back?
Listen, that's the number one rule. It may not come back. In most instances, it won't, right? This person is in need. Even when they come to a friend or family, they're overextending themselves.
Yeah.
And then usually I'm really in a bad place. So when you do lend to friends and family, I do think you have to have a little bit of extra courtesy that you may not get that money back, and that you're really doing this to support someone that you love.
How do you create boundaries, though?
Listen, boundaries are difficult. I think we have difficulty creating boundaries with all of our loved ones, right? So especially when there's money involved. But what I would say is create really strong terms, clear boundaries on when you want to be repaid. And sometimes I know creating a written document with a friend or family member can seem, over formal, but it's the right thing to do to clearly state what you need for this, transaction to be safe.
Yeah, I mean, and you're talking about tax surprises too, but how much money are we talking about here that you're lending out?
Well, you'd be surprised. There's a fun stat that friends and family, or lending to friends and family, is still the number one way that people who need access to under $1,000, that is the number one option. I think the average household lends nearly $3,000 to friends and family a year. So when you think about the tax implications there's actually some real tax implications, especially if you're charging interest. Please, if you're doing this amount and charging interest, please consult your tax professional. We don't want to cause another financial burden for you.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about like having some sort of a contract, et cetera. That seems very awkward. I mean, is there a way to make it less awkward?
That's what we thought here at Solo Funds and apps like Solo Funds, where the community steps up for each other. The idea was that, right? We had friends and family that came to us for $50 or $100, and it was so awkward because, we were doing well in our career, but at the same time, we wanted to give back and help the people that we care about. But at the same time, we didn't want them to take advantage of the situation.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah. So what do you do, though? Because we're talking about lending the money, right? But what if you don't want to lend the money? What if you want to say no? How do you do it? What's some language you can use so it doesn't sound so harsh?
You know what? For my psychology, I've gotten really good at saying no and be direct. And I know that seems, not passionate or compassionate, right? But you have to be direct, and you don't have to over-explain yourself. I think that's when you may get, caught back in the loop of helping that person. The best answer is no. Not today, and maybe set some time on when this type of request can be asked again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what if you're the borrower, though? How do you approach it with a friend, maybe a family member? And would you offer to pay interest? Or should you offer to pay interest?
You know, as a borrower, I think you should clearly state what you need and why you need. And I do think when you're approaching a family member, you should try to be as professional and as formal as possible. I think the level of seriousness that a borrower approaches friends and family, you're more likely to, what I would say, help them, right? If they're serious about this relationship, it's going to create a priority that you need. And I think you can look for that priority when someone's asking for money from you.
All very interesting, Rodney. Okay, I like your saying just flat out no. That's a good one.
It's hard though. That's really hard though if you really care about the person.
Yeah.
But when you realize like, okay, this is the second, third, fourth time that they're asking, and then you just feel like you're getting taken advantage of. So
Yeah.
it's
And,
tough.
you know, it's surprising that it works, right? They actually like, no, don't over-explain. You know what? And honestly, I got your back, no matter what, even though you're not getting this capital.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Always great to see you.
Awesome. Thank you.